For the European cultures, all that was known of the wolf was myth and misinformation. It seemed that no one cared to know the truth, so it's taken a long time for wolves to regain human allies. Wildlife biologist Pat Tucker and writer Bruce Weide have taken responsibility for a captive wolf called Kawani.
She came into our life by default, and I do feel a tremendous responsibility to give her as good a life as possible. And that has not always been easy. She's a wonderful animal to have around. I've learned a lot from her, but they're not pets. We really felt like it was important, if she was going to be in captivity, to utilize her to her best advantage as a representative of her species.
Kawani brought us together and put a real focus on the direction that we were taking education.
There is something about having a live animal in a program that is really astounding. She really does affect people.
If Kawani's captivity can help children to understand wild wolves, then her time among people will be important to her species and to ours. Kawani is a wolf ambassador, and in 200 schools a year, she looks into the faces who will one day decide the fate of her wild cousins.
Okay, well, you've got yourselves imagined into that situation. Remember, there's just 2 of us now. 6 miles to go before we reach any shelter. We've got the sun setting, the temperature dropping, and on top of all that, we've got wolves howling in the dark forest.
By howling, wolves express their fellowship to each other and their strength to the world around them. Sometimes that strength engenders fear, the stuff of nightmares and folklore. Old world stories created for the delicious entertainment of children enter into mainstream consciousness and generate responses devoid of reason and goodwill.
Living in Alaska as a young teenager, it was at the tail end of when there was a bounty on wolves. And my friend and I were going to make our fortune killing wolves at $50 a pop. In the summer, though, I saw the film Death of a Legend. That fall, when we were out on a hunting trip, my friend and I looked up on this ridge, and this wolf had just been following along, I'm sure, just curious. And I raised my rifle, and I had the crosshairs right on it. And I just felt those eyes penetrating my soul. And I couldn't pull the trigger. And I lowered the rifle, and my friend just looked at me aghast. And by this time, the wolf had taken off. Wasn't even like I could have second thoughts. I've always attributed that educational program to me lowering the rifle, which to this day, I'm awfully glad I did. And that's why I think education can work, because it turned me around.
Here we go. Oh, just say hi to your teacher. There, see that? That's a greeting, that's face licking, and that's...
There has been some tremendous change in our attitude toward predators. There is more of an acceptance of them as part of this world and an important part.
As a species, we're maturing, And we are telling a different story about our place in nature.
Got something out.
She's whipping it up. I think this had peanut butter and jelly.
Where we do have problems is going into areas where the wolf is very controversial. Often what it takes is an individual in the school system or a parent who's seen our program to really demand that we be allowed to come.
Part of what the wolf symbolizes is change. And to one camp, such as ranchers, the change doesn't seem that positive.
It will take more than the goodwill of a few enlightened naturalists to turn the tide of public opinion. Cattlemen have concerns, and some of them are feeling squeezed at the edges.
It's true, there's so many things against the ranching community right now. Wolves are just one. My concern is why they want to relocate them near populated areas where there are established ranching operations, where they're going to have conflict. I don't think that everything should be made perfect for the ranching community. I think the wolves have a definite place. There's hundreds of thousands of acres in the wilderness. Well, that's where they should be. They aren't really an endangered species. There's abundant wolves.
If you do not understand something, you begin to destroy it, you begin to turn away from it. Indian people have never professed to own, have only professed to stand in reverence of Mother Earth's garden. It is felt by our elders that these dances speak of times when the Indian and the animal world lived together. Dance represents a physical prayer that each time the moccasin touches the earth in harmony with the drum and song, that word is sent to Creator through Mother Earth's heart. Our dance was dedicated to the return of the wolf. As the eagle feather, as the song, as the drum, all come together, it is with one thought in mind, that Creator would hear their prayer for healing and harmony.
Traditional wisdom and modern science. The Nez Perce have combined the two in their Wolf Education and Research Center in Winchester, Idaho. Direct observation of many details is impossible in the wild. This study pack is kept so that the subtle dynamics and relationships might be observed close up.
There was much excitement.